With the spooky month upon us, I felt it only natural to do exactly what everybody else is doing and celebrate by checking out some spooky games, and I knew exactly what game to start with: Dredge. Dredge is something I've had my eye on for a while now, and I've heard nothing but praise for it. It seemed right up my alley as well, since it contains one of my favourite genres of horror, Lovecraftian. There's something mesmerizing about something we can't fathom, something so far beyond our own understanding that to try results in going mad. That alone had me, and no pun intended, hooked. So I picked it up, played it, and now I want to share my experience with it with you, and answer the question, should you play it? So grab your fishing rod, crab pots, and help me dredge the sunken wrecks of the sea floor as we check out Black Salt Games' 2023 release of Dredge. And be careful, pal, because massive spoilers lurk in the depths below, waiting for you, watching you, ready to leap out and drag you into the salty, dark, spoilery depths below. You've been warned. Our fishing adventure begins, like all good fishing adventures do, crashing our boat into the rocks just off the coast of a nearby town. Thankfully, we're okay and wake up on the docks of said nearby town, Greater Marrow. The town mayor greets us. His cheerful demeanor seems odd in this drab little town. Most of the folk around here seem like if they'd even try to smile, their faces might crack and break. Still, the man helps us to our feet and explains that he knows who we are and what we're here to do. We're the new town fishermen. Sadly, he knows that we've crashed our boat and can't exactly do our job without it. However, for a small loan, he has given us a working replacement vessel. It's nothing amazing, but it'll get the job done. The mayor tells us that our job here is very simple. Venture out, catch fish, and bring them back to sell at the fishmonger. We make money, the town gets food, everybody wins. Simple. But there is one slight issue: the fog. As the sun goes down, the fog, which seems to spread as far as the eye can see, gets thicker, and that's when strange things happen. The paranoia sets in, tricks of the eyes, whispering, and the feeling of being watched. The mayor strongly suggests we return to port and sleep until daybreak before returning back out to sea. So, with all the warnings and rules, we climb into the boat and get out there and go fishing. We feel at peace out here on the open ocean, catching fish. It just feels right. It feels like this was something we were meant to do. As the waves lap against our boat and we reel in fish after fish, we notice the sun begin to set and return to Greater Marrow. Today was a good day of fishing. On day 2, though, while fishing, we reel something in. A fish for sure, but wrong. This fish, it's like nothing we've ever seen before. So we return to town and show it to the fishmonger. The old man gazes upon the fish, but shows no real sign of surprise on his dour-looking face. In fact, we're pretty sure we could see the small hint of a smile. The man inspects the grotesque fish and seems to notice something. He cuts open the fish, and inside its stomach is a a handkerchief. A rather delicate patterned handkerchief. The fishmonger hands us some coins for the fish and also hands us the handkerchief to keep. As we return to the cabin on our boat, we notice the face of a man staring directly at us through a peephole. His gaze almost appears to not be looking at us per se, but directly at our soul. Through muffled words, the man explains that he was watching us at the fishmonger and in fact saw us with that particular handkerchief. He wants to talk about that discovery, but not here. He wants to meet us on an island close by, and with that, the man leaves and we turn in for the night. The next day, we head out for the island the strange man told us to meet him, and when we arrive, all we could see was an old rundown mansion. It has clearly seen better days, but it is more or less in good shape. As we approach the mansion, we can see the man standing in the doorway, watching us. As we get closer, we notice he's holding a rather strange crimson book adorned with silver markings. Before we get the chance to say anything, he introduces himself as the Collector. He explains that he collects all sorts of things, but right now he only has eyes set on that handkerchief we found inside the fish. We hand the Collector the handkerchief and he snatches it away and studies it thoroughly. Once satisfied, he tells us that this handkerchief was actually something he'd been looking for a long time. It was on an old boat that sank many years ago. This boat held items of great importance to him, and he wants our help in finding these other relics. To sweeten the deal, the Collector not only will reward us for finding these relics, but also pimp out our little tugboat with equipment to dredge the depths below, free of charge, of course. We agree to help the man out since, aside from fishing, we don't really have much else going on in our life. And besides, it just feels like the right thing to do. The Collector is happy that we agreed to help him and offers up a piece of advice looking for these relics. He suggests we speak to some of the people in town close by and see if they know of any shipwrecks. And after that, he bids us farewell and we sail away. A few days pass and we save up some money to upgrade and even paint our little boat. But in that time, we also learn about a shipwreck off the coast of Greater Marrow. The townsfolk say that its location will be easy to find since, for some reason at night, a strange glow emanates from the wreck's location. And sure enough, as night falls and we sail closer, an odd red light marks the shipwreck. It's almost as if this relic is calling to us, like it wants to be found. We spend a little bit of time dredging the depths below, and sure enough, we find a key. A golden key, and that it seems far bigger than a key ought to be. Still, with relic in hand, we return to the Collector and hand it over. He looks at the key and seems pleased, but then asks where the lock is. We shrug as the man lets out a sigh. The Collector explains that he was hoping all the relics would be together, but it appears they've drifted apart over time. And after a brief moment, he explains that his intuition tells him that another relic would be near an island called Gale Cliffs, a little further away. The Collector rewards us for our effort and then just tells us to go and get the next relic. This guy doesn't seem to want to wait. It takes us almost an entire day and well into the night, but we eventually reach the neighboring island and the town of Ingfell. We of course do the rounds, help out the locals, get attacked by a giant sea beast, the usual stuff. Eventually, we find what we're looking for, a rusted metal music box, and sail back to the collector, who is once again happy to see this music box. He sets the music box aside and turns to us and suggests we check out a reef nearby called Stellar Basin. Once again, his intuition tells him something is over there. So, we hop back into our little boat and sail across the calm open waters for most of the day and well into the stormy night. As we arrive, we almost immediately see the haunting and ominous red glow marking the location of this missing relic. Just as we begin to believe this will actually be easy, we learn that this isn't exactly going to be the case. Deep within the depths of Stellar Basin's beautiful coral reef is a giant sea beast, and this beast isn't letting us near the relic. After a little exploring, we come across an old fortress and a small dwelling. Inside the house is a scientist. Turns out she also had a bit of a run-in with that sea beast and had to flee her old research outpost. This lady will help us get the relic we seek if we help catch a few fish for her scientific study. We agree to help, and she gives us a special prototype device that emits a sound the beast doesn't like. Once this device is active, the beast will flee the area, letting us catch not only fish for the scientist, but also buy us enough time to dredge up the old relic, which is a jewel-encrusted band. We return to the scientist, give her the fish for her research, and then we return to the collector to give him his relic. Once again, he thanks us, but not one for chit-chat or any explanation, just tells us that there are more relics still out there, and like the time before, his intuition tells him that the next relic lies deep within the swampy mangrove called the Twisted Strand. The mangrove wasn't a nice place, far from it, in fact. Its putrid, stagnant, murky waters were reason enough to stay away. Who knew what lurked beneath the surface? However, if that wasn't enough for you, the maze-like islands and twisted mangrove trees made navigation a nightmare. You could spend the entire day trying to navigate your way through this place, only to turn around in circles. However, as we explore, we find signposts guiding us somewhere, and with no other guidance, we choose to follow them. The signs lead us to a small camp. Inside the camp is a one-armed man sharpening a wooden spear. He seems surprised to see us. The man explains that he was part of a squadron of fighter pilots who crashed here in this murky mangrove. Escape may have been possible for those who survived the crash. However, 3 strange beasts stalk this place. Mind suckers. These monsters are blind and hunt using sound alone. Once they've found you, they use a strange power to cause you to go mad and do unspeakable things. Over time, these beasts picked off each survivor until just one man remained. He wants to escape this place. However, he also wants revenge and won't leave here until all the mind suckers are dead. And that's where we come in. He wants us to kill these strange beasts using traps and a freaking mortar strike. He can't do both at the same time, but wants our help to lure them into the traps so he can launch his strike from the islands close by. And once all the beasts are dead, we can then take this man back to civilization. We aren't heartless, and looking for the next relic can wait, so we agree to help. We navigate our way through the maze-like mangrove, luring each minesucker into traps with bait. Once the beast is trapped, the survivor launches his mortar strike from the land to blow up each minesucker. When all 3 monsters are dead, we return with their heads as proof. The man looks at each minesucker's head with a sadistic glee and cuts them open, and for what reason, we're unsure. However, as luck would have it, inside one of the beasts is the relic we seek. Strange, it's almost like these relics want to be found. Still, this is a fortuitous turn of events. We take the relic in hand and ask the survivor if he's ready to return to civilization. However, he declines and explains that the more he thinks about it, the more this place just feels like home for him now. Civilization might not be the place he wants to be. We nod our head and return back to our boat and sail back to the collector. The collector is pleased to see the new relic, and he studies it for a brief moment and puts it away with the other relics. He gazes into our eyes with an almost soul-piercing stare and explains that only one relic remains, and it is somewhere near the ruins of an ancient civilization called the Devil's Spine. After that, he turns his back and leaves us. As we walk back to our boat, we ponder why it is this man wants these relics exactly. And the knowledge that there's only one left fills our heart with a strange sense of joy, but also a deep fear. But why? I guess it doesn't matter much to us at the end of the day, so for now we sail towards the Devil's Spine. The smell of rotten eggs burns and assaults the nostrils. The heat is inescapable. Even the water boils in this place. This is a result of a volcano located in the middle of the Devil's Spine. However, something strange catches our eye. A man waving and shouting at us from one of the ruins nearby. We stop and approach the man in robes. He explains that our arrival has been foretold and he knows what it is we seek. The robed man tells us that we're his replacement, and to gain the relic from him, we must perform the ritual of purification. We nod and ask him to explain what it is we need to do for this ritual. The man grows excited and tells us that we must find 3 fathomless fires and return them to their respected place. Once that is done, the ritual can begin, and then and only then will the relic be ours. The man seems honestly crazy, but we decide to humor him and find these fathomless flames. Now, finding the flames is pretty easy. We just need to explore the area, catch some fish, and place them across some ritualistic altars, and sacrifice them to the murky depths below. With the flames now in hand, we... well, I hope we're not holding them with our hands. Holding a flame seems a little bit... how should I say this? Dangerous, perhaps? I don't know. I don't know about you. I've never held a blue flame before, but whatever. With flames now in hand, we return to our new robed pal and try to set the night on fire. Try to set the night on fire. Yeah. Yeah. Why am I doing this? Our new fanatical friend is overjoyed that we've started the ritual of purification, and shuffles off to a pyre and climbs atop and begins to read off of a scroll. As he speaks, the pyre ignites with a blue flame. We scream for him to get down, but it's too late. The fire engulfs him and turns him into ash, and as soon as the flame dies down, it leaves nothing behind. Nothing, that is, aside from a glimmering golden pocket watch. We reach out to take this relic, expecting it to be hot or at least warm, but no, it's cold. Freezing cold, in fact. With the relic in hand, and freezing our hand, we return to our boat and sail back to the Collector. The Collector awaits for us in his rundown mansion as usual. It was almost as though he was expecting us this time. We hand him the final relic, and he takes it and stares at it, almost as though seeing an old friend. He turns his gaze to us and congratulates us, and explains that there's only one more job for us to do. We stop the Collector right there and ask him what it is exactly he wanted with these relics. He sighs and explains that he needed these relics to bring an old friend he lost a long time ago back to life. To do this, he had to collect the relics and toss these relics into the sea and read aloud from his special book, the Book of the Deep. After that, he explains that all he needs from us now is to sail him out to a specific place and he'll do the rest. We've seen and heard some strange things so far, but this in particular is wild. Still, we agree and set sail in the dead of the night along with the Collector. It doesn't take long to get to where we were headed. In fact, it's not far from where we found the first of these relics. Once we arrive, the man begins to read aloud from his book, and we toss the relics into the ocean. A sound booms as the last relic sinks into the depths. Our boat's lights flicker out, and to our shock, a body floats out from the depths, the body of a young woman. She floats out of the ocean and begins to glow. Our eyes are drawn to this woman. However, something else rises out of the ocean. We turn our head and gaze upon the horror. What have we done? The end. Now, that was abrupt and vague, perhaps even rather confusing. I left it that way on purpose. I sort of sped-run the story, because, you see, there's far more to this story than meets the eye. What I told you was a rather sped-up version of the bad ending, or the good ending if, summoning a forgotten horror from the depths is something you've personally been wanting to do for a long time, so, I don't know, maybe it's a good ending for you. However, I now must re-warn you of spoilers. If you would rather experience Dredge's full story for yourself, which I actually highly recommend, skip over to the gameplay section. If you don't care about spoilers, then stick around, but you have been warned again. Dredge's story is not really something you can re-experience, if that makes sense. So that, as I said before, was considered the bad ending, and from what I can tell, it's only one of two-ish endings. I say two-ish, there is just two endings, but some of the dialogue will change and some of the reveals will change, depending on how you proceed. Because Dredge rewards you with curiosity. You see, Over the course of the game, you'll come across these messages in bottles, and if you pick them up and read them, you'll hear about a story about a young married couple and their life together. These messages are sort of clues to what is actually going on here. Like I said, Dredge rewards curiosity. The second clue to what's actually going on here is only given to you if you repeatedly talk to the NPCs within the towns and the ports you stop off at. If you sort of begin to understand what's going on and combining these two things together, you'll begin to learn that the young married couple dredged up something from the depths. Something unspeakable. And sadly, the young woman dies and her husband goes crazy. If you bring up these things to the collector, you'll learn that the collector is actually you. You were the husband in those stories. You dredged up the horrors from the depths. You got your wife killed. You went mad and split yourself in two. The grieving husband who wanted his wife back, aka the collector, and the man who wishes to just forget and fish. You, the player. Once you've actually learned the truth, you can then get the two different endings. You can choose to proceed with the summoning and get your wife back, thus, summoning the unspeakable horror and ending the world. Or you can throw the book back into the depths where it came from and sort of end the horror and the nightmare that you yourself started. And that is the good ending. Now, once again, I glossed over this story, but even with the ending spoiled and you know what's happening, I still kind of just urge you to try out Dredge for yourself. Even sort of knowing what's going on, you can pick up like little hints sprinkled along the way. And I think that is what makes Dredge so engaging. Now, with the story terribly retold, let's move on over to the gameplay, shall we? The gameplay of Dredge is surprisingly simple and oddly addictive. All you need to do is just catch all the little fishies out there and dredge up the depths. That's it. You catch fish by playing a little mini-game that changes depending on which type of fish or item you're catching. They're not difficult by any means. They're just sort of like these little... I don't know, like I hesitate to say rhythm. You just sort of gotta like click when it tells you to click, those sort of ones. I guess that's kind of rhythm-ish, right? It's like a rhythm game, but it's a little bit easier than that. If you've got no sense of rhythm like I do, trust me, you'll be fine. Now, with each little fish you catch, you can sell them for a little bit of money, and with that money, you can slowly upgrade your boat to become faster or hold more fish, among other things. It always pushes you forward towards a new little goal, and honestly, it's perfect. You never feel like the next upgrade is like hours of grinding away, which in some games can be very annoying. But when it comes to upgrading your little boat, there is one other thing, aside from money that is, that you'll need, and that is where dredging comes into play. You see, to upgrade your boats, you'll need a few components, such as wood, steel, cloth, and scrap parts, and you get these by dredging old wrecks to find what you might need. It's all, honestly, simple stuff, and it's actually refreshing. How many games have you played in which the grinding loop was just hours or just really complex? Dredge isn't like that at all. In fact, Dredge never becomes complex or even remotely annoying. It's an oddly peaceful playthrough, which is funny considering the atmosphere surrounding the game is almost like this depressing Lovecraftian tone. There were so many times within this game that I'd find myself in an almost zen-like state of mind, trying to catch all the different types of fish to fill out my encyclopedia of fish. I wasn't worried about getting the next relic. I wasn't worried about the next upgrade or the giant sea monsters lurking close by. All I cared about was trying to find the corrupted versions of the sailfish, which, by the way, took me... I'm not kidding. It took me a real life hour to find the corrupted version of the sailfish. And speaking of the encyclopedia of fish, there are exactly, at least of the time of this video, 151 different types of sea life to catch. I couldn't help but think about Pokemon, and maybe that's just me, but it almost felt like that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, each fish has its own aberration or corrupted version, which kind of feels like the fish evolution or a shiny version of the fish. And there's even legendary fish to catch as well. I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of like the original Pokemon, you know, collecting all 151 Pokemon. And it honestly just made me smile a little bit. I was not expecting that out of a game about fishing. But aside from that, what else is there in this game? Well, side quests, of course. You'll meet up with all sorts of strange people who might need a little bit of help. Now, most of the rewards you'll be given for these quests kind of just boil down to either lore or research points. And these research points can then be used to unlock new fishing gear or, you know, or upgrades for your boat. The side quests also are not pointed out to you. They're not just something, you know, like a blinking exclamation point on your map. You actually have to search them out by yourself, and that is done by talking to people or exploring strange locations. And honestly, I love that. I really, really do. But honestly, that's about as deep as the side questing goes. It's just simple, easy, and fun. In fact, that's the whole theme of Dredge. Simple, easy, fun. At no point will you be stuck or lost for things to do. The minigames keep the fishing fresh, but never feel like a chore or impossible. The side quests aren't hard or require you to do some almost impossible task to finish. Dredge is simple, and gosh darn it, I love it for that. But there is something I need to bring up. Something that may be a slight deal breaker for some, and that's the length of this game. Dredge isn't long. In fact, my total playtime, and this includes me getting all the endings, catching all the fish, getting all the achievements, and even leaving the game idle while I went off and ate lunch, it was 19.4 hours. Now, like I said, this might be a bit of a deal breaker for some. However, I liked it. For this channel, I've played my way through massive RPGs and spent a ton of time on them. And in that time, I never really felt like I actually finished the game, even though I got like all the achievements or did all the side quests. I don't know, some of the games just kind of feel endless. Dredge has an ending. Dredge is final, and it's rewarding because of it. It actually felt right. It actually felt good. I was happy to actually feel like I finished something that I could now just move on from. And who knows, maybe you'll feel the same way. But that's about all I really have to say about the gameplay. And it all, like I said, boils down to just simple, easy, and fun. I wasn't really sure what to expect going into Dredge. I thought it was going to be a really spooky game, but honestly I didn't find myself spooked at all. In fact, what I found was a mystery, and it was a mystery I wanted to unravel. A lot of Lovecraftian games have this strong focus on horror. I feel like they forget that special something, and that special something is curiosity. Horror will push you forward, and going back isn't an option. They rely on fear to drive you, but Dredge doesn't feel that way at all. Dredge is curiosity. Dredge isn't pushing you forward. You are stepping forward on your own because you're wondering what's around the corner. The game doesn't tell you things. It gives you clues. It asks you questions, and only you can put those clues together. Only you can answer those questions. Why does the collector want those relics? Where did they even come from? Where did the fog come from? Why are the fish corrupted? Dredge is special. You can tell the team behind this game really loved what they were making. At no point does it feel like a rushed job. It isn't filled with bloat to pad out the experience or microtransactions or whatever. It knows exactly what it wants to say and wastes no time saying it. The art is beautiful. The music is beautiful. Dredge is just wonderful, which is weird because it's a game about fishing, and at no point did I think a game about fishing was going to have me hooked as much as it did. Should you play it? Yes, you should. Go and give Dredge a try. It's $24.99 over on Steam. It does go on sale. It has an upcoming DLC as of the recording of this, and honestly, this, like I said, it just has like a beginning. If you're looking for a game with a beginning, middle, and end, I definitely say give Dredge a go. You might be pleasantly surprised by what it can offer you. I know I was. So there you go. And now I would like to thank all of the lovely people who have undergone the great joining and joined the Lycan colony. I never know what to call this thing, but anyway, I would love to thank Family Dog, Ben M, Anya the Khajiit, David Welch. I think I said Welsh last time. Get used to it, everybody. Mispronouncing things is my specialty. David Welch, Amelia, TJ Methvin, and Needy. So thank you. Oh, and Jack too, by the way, TJ's son. So thank you very, very, very much for feeling like I have earned the earned the join. Earned the join. So thank you very much. I mean, it really does just leave me speechless. Seriously, I thank you. I really don't know what else to say other than thank you. Kind of makes me choked up inside, you know? Like it's I am thankful. Truly thankful. You know, and I'm thankful to everybody, for real. Like anybody who feels like I've earned a little like, and then they like the video, and anybody who even clicks on the video and gives it a chance, just it warms my heart more than I could ever ever express, all the people who sub to the channel, anybody who does undergo the joining, just anybody who leaves a comment or whatever, who feels like I've earned it. And that's the most important part. It's the earning it that is what's important. So many people just say, hey, join the channel, you know what I mean? Like, why? You know, like, why? You know, I don't know. I'm getting off topic. I just thank you very much to everybody. For real. Thank you very, very, very much. You're all making a dream come true, and there are no words to express how much that means. So you are all Venzo, and I love you very much, so thank you. Up next, sorry, I was getting a little teary-eyed. Up next is Deadly Premonition. Now, Deadly Premonition is something I have never played before. I had heard about Deadly Premonition, and oddly enough, all the people I knew who played Deadly Premonition really didn't like it. And that's all they'd say. They just said, I hated the game. But then I've heard people that love the game, but the people I personally know do not like the game. Now, it is unique and an acquired taste. It's very special, and it was an absolute nightmare to get working. But I have gotten it working, and yeah, so yeah, let's just say you're in for a bit of a treat. So hopefully you'll join me next time for Deadly Premonition. But until then, take care of yourself, be safe, and that's it. Peace out, pals. Whee! Oh, man.